You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
I guess the only thing you could do, and this is just me pulling shit out of my ass at this point, is have Joe go out there and destroy a babyface each week in some sort of open challenge. Like, send out a guy from NXT or developmental and just let him beat people up every single week.
You know, I don't think... I'm sorry, Abby, go ahead.
Well, that or you call somebody up from NXT to fill that void that Rollins has left. Although I really don't want to see Nakamura and Joe again.
Yeah, that's been done to death.
Well, my thinking on it is, don't worry about putting him in a match at WrestleMania. Stick him at the side of Triple H. Let him be Triple H's muscle.
So he's just going to come out there every week in a suit and stand there and look tough and do nothing.
There you go. He can mean mug it. And if anybody wants to give Triple H any shit, Triple H sends out his mini boss.
I guess that is an easy payday, a new payday for Samoa Joe that he wouldn't refuse. But as a wrestling fan, I can't not find that disappointing.
I think that,
as Meltzer would say, plans change.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, at least for the short term, until we figure out what's going on with Seth Rollins.
I guess so. I guess Joe's just going to have to be the hired goon who beats people up if they get Triple H's face. That's all he can do then.
Unless they completely shuffle everything around for this storyline going into Mania and say, Seth, just take your time to heal and don't worry about putting a timetable of 8 weeks on it.
At least in my head, I can see storylines being spun out of it if they're willing to go in the direction Kevin proposes. Like, anytime somebody starts to buck up to Triple H, Joe will just say, remember what I did to Seth. Don't cross the boss.
But Triple H only came back for Seth.
Well, here's an idea. We don't take Seth off of TV. Instead, we keep Seth on TV every week. He's coming out there, in his wheelchair or his crutches. He's still running his mouth. And Triple H is like, you didn't get enough last time? Joe, go beat him up some more. And you keep building that every week. And, and say Seth sits at home for a week. And Triple H says, I don't think Seth's learned yet. Go to Seth's house and beat him up, Joe. You keep...
Oh my God. You just booked the home invasion angle all over again.
Exactly. There you go. You're right. It is. Exactly. Just do it again.
It was terrible the first time. We don't need it again.
Hunter, it was a great angle. Do it again.
Oh.
Do it now.
Seth has, 2 disabled pets. You can't, they're not good guard animals, so that wouldn't really work too well.
But I think you could do that all the way up to WrestleMania, and let's just say it is going to be 8 weeks. And 8 weeks he's going to be fine and ready to go. Let him keep playing up the injured angle and, him pushing Triple H into a match anyway, and Triple H just being like, Joe, or Seth, you really don't want to do this. And Seth's like, yes, I do. And I'm going to keep pushing your buttons too until you sign this match, whether I'm crippled or whatever. And then like the Raw before, he comes out in his wheelchair and Joe's ready to go beat him up again. But all of a sudden Seth pops up out of the wheelchair. He's ready to go, whips Joe's ass there. Triple H match is on.
Let's hope it worked out that way, because 8 weeks is a very generous estimate. Like Abby said earlier, it could be 6 months. He might not be ready in 8 weeks.
Yeah, and if WWE puts their eggs in that basket and it rolls around that he's not cleared, then they've just fucked themselves up big time.
Right, because there's one of your marquee matches for Mania completely off the card with no time to build to anything else.
Well, you got to put something else. With that, you definitely have to put something else in, because like you mentioned, what if it doesn't end up being 8 months? Then you have to have a way to completely kill that off, and that's not hard with that angle though. You could just keep escalating it, and once they actually find out, Seth's not going to be able to do it, just have Joe completely wipe him off, and then put out he's out on the shelf indefinitely.
I'm just going to play conservative booker here and not be optimistic about the whole thing. I'm going to say you find something else for Triple H to do at WrestleMania, but you keep the program on the back burner, and if he's ready in 3 or 4 months, you can do it in SummerSlam, you can do it in Survivor Series, you can do it somewhere down the line this year. You don't have to have the payoff be at WrestleMania. You can keep it on the back burner.
Yeah, do it for another big show.
Absolutely, especially since they're treating all 4 of the traditional events like big shows. They're all going to be 6 hours. They're all going to have a takeover. There's going to be some chance to do it again at one of these other mini WrestleManias since they're now all booking them the same way.
I think WrestleMania is going to be 7 hours.
Oh, then it's going to be another entry. No, you're not. I'm just thinking of the WrestleCrap entry that will follow that.
We may have our Gooker 2017 winner.
You know, it kind of ends up being the same way with the Super Bowl. It starts at like noon and it goes all damn day.
It's just too much.
I mean, the Rumble seemed long enough, but oh man, they're going to add an extra hour onto that for WrestleMania. That's going to be painful.
It could actually get long enough to where you have to tune in for the pay-per-view before the pay-per-view.
You're not kidding. That's kind of what TakeOver is, actually. It's like, tune in for the pay-per-view before the pay-per-view on Saturday night. Okay, so speaking of pay-per-views, let's give our thoughts on the Royal Rumble itself. We've already talked about the fact that it was kind of disappointing that Joe didn't come out number 30 because we were all hoping for that. But what about the Rumble itself as a whole, the elimination over the top match? What did you guys think? Abby, I'll start with you.
It was very disappointing. I didn't like it. There were no surprises.
Or the way it was booked, or both?
Both. I mean, it was very predictable. It was very safe. There were no surprises. And every year they do surprises in the Rumble. And this year, even though we knew going in that they were going to be not doing them, the rest of the show was really good. The Rumble match, not so much.
The only surprises, if you can call them that, and they really weren't because we were all expecting them, Ty Dillinger at number 10, Baron Corbin at number 13. I think we all expected both of those.
Well, since Corbin came out a couple of weeks ago on SmackDown and said he was entering the Rumble, yeah, it was kind of expected for him to be in there.
Right, but to be 13 with he's got the 13 logo on everything, that was the part that I'm kind of focusing on there. It's like they couldn't resist playing up the numerology.
I really doubt they put that much thought into it.
Well, since Ty came out at number 10, I kind of think they actually did.
Well, for Ty's, yeah, but I doubt they put that in for Corbin.
It just felt that way to me. It was like, this is too obvious. He's coming out at 13, and sure enough, he did. Anyway, what did you think, Jason?
I've got a lot to say on this. Number one, the lack of surprises really sucked. First off with that, Ty Dillinger was the only NXT guy you had. Shinsuke didn't debut. You didn't have Samoa Joe debut. You didn't have anybody from NXT except Ty Dillinger. And then you get just these scrubs that you could have done so much better. You could put other guys in there other than Kalisto. Who wants to see Kalisto in a Royal Rumble? Not me. Who wants to see Mojo Rawley in a Royal Rumble? Not me. Does anybody want to see Mark Henry ever? No, not really. So that kind of bugged me that there were these just kind of schlubs in there that it was like, And it's like Strowman got eliminated, I think number 9. It was like, okay. We get down to people in the ring that are still left after Roman Reigns comes out at number 30. And once Goldberg gets eliminated at 23, I turned the Rumble off because I'm like, with the guys left in the ring, I don't give a shit who wins. It's just going to be stupid. So I turned it off at that point.
Well, I stuck it out till the bitter end, but
I did too.
I wasn't at all surprised. It's expected that Orton is going into a top WrestleMania program. That's basically his reward for getting his skull bashed in by Brock Lesnar last year was like, here's your make good. You get to be a star and headline one of the top 3 matches at WrestleMania. You're welcome.
I guess I would be fine with this 10 years ago in 2007 and that whole rated RKO era of Randy Orton, but it's 10 years later. And what's Randy Orton done since then? It's just kind of like,
Been there, done that. That's why I said they kind of went the safe route.
Yeah, they did. But I don't hate that so much as I hate the lack of surprises you've both already alluded to, like Trent Seven or
Pete Dunne.
Considering they were on a pay-per-view for Progress in London, yeah, it would have been a little bit difficult.
They could have sent the red eye. They could have sent the corporate jet to get one of them.
Do you know how long it takes to get from there to England?
10 hours.
The Rumble started at what over here? It was 5 o'clock, which, no, they could not have done it. Now, maybe if they had warp drive or a time machine or the doctor's box,
all right,
maybe.
But Tyler Bate wasn't on that Progress show, right?
Tyler Bate was in
No.
San Antonio.
He could have
Tyler
been
Bate.
then. Or Wolfgang wasn't on the Progress show, right?
No, but they're also not TV ready, so they put them on the NXT tapings.
I can't think of anybody in the UK Championship who's more TV ready than Wolfgang.
So you give a
They're
belt
not
to Tyler
WWE
Bate.
TV ready.
You've got faith in
he
Tyler
looks
Bate to hold your
WWE
UK Championship, but you don't have faith that he's TV ready. What does that say? That's more WWE
That's
logic for you.
WWE.
Honestly, he had almost the most charisma of anybody on that entire show, and you're telling me he's not TV ready. He was TV ready on that.
I don't think
TV
Nakamura is TV ready.
show. Okay, yeah, that conference call still boggles the living fuck out of me.
So, of course, they're not going to think Tyler Bate is TV ready. They're not going to think Wolfgang is TV ready, because it doesn't matter that they've been doing pay-per-views in the UK forever and have been on television in the UK forever. It's not WWE, so God fucking forbid you put them on the main roster show.